Post-war Britain was buzzing with big ideas, and one of the biggest was the welfare state.
An all-in scheme of social insurance, providing all the cash benefits needed for security.
But nearly 70 years later, something has gone terribly wrong. The system is in crisis.
There's too many people in this country claiming benefits.
Children are going hungry all the time. What kind of society do you want?
Is it worth worrying about it? Yes, it is, because of its cost.
No one can agree about how to fix it.
Because we have to get on top of the welfare bill.
The Chancellor calls them scroungers. What does the Prime Minister call them?
If someone believes that living on benefits is a lifestyle choice, then we need to make them think again.
So in this series, we're going back to the original rules to see if they point a way out of this current mess. We've recreated a dole office from 1949, the first year the system was up and running. For 1 week, modern-day claimants will give up their 2013 benefits and live by 1949's regulations.
Perhaps you're a bit of a scrounger.
I'm no scrounger.
They'll discover a world of tough love.
£7.40.
I can't live off that.
That's all you get a week.
She's going to send me to work. She can go first then.
Strict moral judgments.
That house will be going to a more respectable family.
And help only for those prepared to help themselves. As the post-war regime challenges their limits.
Please do tell me where you want me to put this stuff and I will do it right now.
And our expectations.
I can't wait to be putting a wage on the table, earning my keep.
I feel like a capable human again.
Welcome to the welfare state of 1949.
Tonight, what can 1949 tell us about how to support the vulnerable? In 2013, 3 groups take up 70% of the total welfare spend. So how can the state best help disabled people like Craig?
Would you climb a ladder at all?
No. Are pensioners like Melvin getting too little or too much?
It's bloody hard.
And should the long-term sick like Karen...
I'm not out to scrounge.
...qualify for aid?
I am going to take your benefits away from you.
I don't like being blackmailed, you know.
To set up our dole office with a difference, we've come to Nottingham. A typical British city where half the population receives some sort of help from the welfare state. But back in 1949, offices like this were opening in towns up and down the country. To run ours, we've chosen 2 benefits officers with nearly 60 years of experience between them.
I knew my job and I was a bit of a stickler at trying to get it right.
If I went out to see somebody and it was obvious that they were committing fraud, then I wouldn't hesitate to just tell them at the time your benefit will be stopped.
Using the original Acts of Parliament and regulations contained in what was known as the A Code.
The A Code extended into very nearly 8,000 paragraphs. I could quote virtually verbatim.
They will work out exactly how much money each claimant would have got in 1949. They'll adjust it for today's prices and enforce the exact rules that applied in each case.
I wonder what's hit them. Not only are they not going to have very much money, we are going to be trying to get them to appreciate what life was like then.
For each of our claimants, the week begins with an assessment.
Labour and Welfare Office? I didn't know it was here.
First in the diary is 75-year-old Melvin.
Definitely 1940s.
A former railway engineer.
Definitely. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Can I help you?
My name's Mr. Rowthorne.
Mr.
Rowthorne.
Rowthorne.
Yeah.
Pensioners like Melvin now account for over half of the total welfare spend. That's 17 times as much as we spend on the unemployed.
Oh, yes. Beautiful. That's what you call living. Being retired, I can do what I want, when I want, and how I want. On the railway, I earned my pension working over 40 years, paying into it, my national insurance. As a pensioner, to go back to that age, I'm trying to find out if I could manage like my mum and dad did then. I'll do my best to do it, but I know damn well it's going to be really hard. I do that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Before they pay out, the 1949 officers need to check that Melvin has paid in.
All seems in order.
You've paid your stamps, you've contributed.
Yeah.
So you satisfy the conditions for a state retirement pension. National insurance is an insurance policy, just like any other. You pay in, and when you hit hard times, you make a claim for it.
And remember that the number is important.
Melvin hands over his current weekly state pension of £134.27. From that, he gets back what he would have received in 1949, adjusted for today's prices.
£38.48 for the week. So, thank you. Thank you very much indeed.
For the coming week, Melvin's going to have to learn to survive on just £5.49 a day.
It's not a lot of money now compared to what I did have, but you cut your cloth accordingly.
He just accepted it like a lamb.
He did.
If I'd been given £38 to live on for a week, I'd have been wondering, how am I going to live on that?
Exactly.
The next applicant, Karen.
Week in, week out, sickness and injury take their toll of a country's greatest asset, its manpower. For various reasons, a man may not be fit for work.
I just feel like that I'm being targeted and I'm genuine, you know, and I'm not out to scrounge, because I've always worked.
Karen worked for 22 years as a care assistant. But for the last 7, she's been one of the 2.5 million Britons on the sick. That's on top of the 2.5 million officially classified as unemployed.
My health issues are, well, my main one is my back, because that affects my whole body. You know, it's spreading up into my neck, my joints. I've got arthritis in my joints. I have heart problems, irregular heartbeat rhythms. I'm diabetes, got high blood pressure.
The 2013 system has assessed Karen and decided that she qualifies for benefits. She may find 1949 a little less sympathetic.
Because people can't see what I'm going through, the pain I'm suffering, people just look at me and think, well, I can't see nothing wrong with her.
Yes, that's quite a history you have there.
But by looking at me, you wouldn't believe that, would you?
Did you pay your national insurance contributions?
I did, yeah.
So you satisfy the conditions for receiving sickness benefit.
Karen hands over her week's sickness benefits and mobility allowance, £155.34. And because she's paid in, she too gets something back.
£38.48.
Are you sure that's all I'm entitled to?
That is what you want.
I can't live off that.
That's all you get a week.
I bet you don't live off that, do you?
It doesn't matter what I live on.
No, you're all right, aren't you?
In 1949, even that money comes with strings attached. If she wants to keep it, she'll have to submit to a tough regime of tests and monitoring in the week ahead.
Anyway, will you come round and see you in a couple of days?
Yeah, sure you do, because I'll come back if you
Yep.
don't.
Thank you.
Waste of time, anyway. What are you looking at?
Oh dear, one very unhappy claimant.
No, I'm not going to just take it because I've got to take it. I'll have to say something. I'm not happy. You know, I've worked with my money. I want my money.
finally, Craig.
I'm not one of these sorts of job seekers that's got a bad reputation at the moment. I want to get a job.
24-year-old Craig was born with spina bifida. In the 4 years he's been unemployed, he's applied for hundreds of jobs. So he's keen to see whether 1949 has more to offer.
I've only had 5 interviews. It's really disheartening when I try so hard. I just want to prove to the world I can do the job just as well as anyone else.
Good morning. Please come.
Craig hands over £171.25, a week's job seekers allowance and disability benefits.
What is your disability?
I have spina bifida.
Unlike Karen, Craig's never worked. Under 1949 rules, that's a problem.
So, have you ever paid national insurance contributions?
No.
Your entitlement in 1949 is nothing.
I'm quite surprised that I don't really get that much help.
It's because you haven't paid your national insurance contributions. It's because you haven't worked.
In 1949, only the war wounded and people with industrial injuries got assistance without having paid in. For the rest, it didn't matter how severe your disability. If you hadn't paid in, the state wouldn't pay out. But it did have an alternative solution.
How do you feel about a training course to help you back into work?
Any help I can get, I'll be willing to receive.
We'll see if we can give you any help in that direction.
For now, all 1949 has to offer Craig is an emergency payment from the National Assistance Board. £7.40 in today's money.
Goodbye.
Bye. Yeah, it seems quite unfair. It's gonna suck, really, because I have no idea how I'm gonna eat or pay any bills.
For Melvin, the reality of 1949 is sinking in.
£5.49 per day. Bloody Nora.
It's not much, but back in 1949, even that was an improvement. Pre-war pensioners got 10 shillings. That is only £14.80 a week. It's okay, though. Melvin has a backup plan.
I've got blackcurrant jam, I've got beetroot, steak and kidney pie, so I shan't starve.
But he hasn't reckoned on Mrs. Townsend.
Unfortunately, I've got this here.
Pensioners wouldn't have been able to stockpile food. They had barely enough to live from week to week. Hello, Mr. Rowthorne.
She's determined to make sure Melvin's experience is as accurate as possible. So anything that he couldn't have bought on his 1949 income has to go.
Why are you taking all this stuff, please, if you don't mind me asking?
Pensioners would have been given just enough. You'd have been barely existing.
It's going to be a struggle.
It's going to be a struggle?
Yes.
So how do you propose to go about doing that?
Excuse me, to be honest, I don't know.
Also on the removals list are any of the extra benefits brought in since 1949, like free bus transport for all pensioners introduced by New Labour in the last decade.
Free bus pass?
That I'm going to have to take away today as well. I'm afraid I'm going to have to take your car.
It gives you a chance to meet other people, but without the car, I am literally stranded, yes. Like a fish out of water.
I will take these out.
Oh, my days.
At Karen's, Mr. Goldsack is warming to the task.
So what's this then?
This? A clown.
In 2013, Karen gets a car funded by her mobility allowance, but not under 1949 rules.
Well, I'm not happy with this.
And finally, on emergency funds...
Good evening, Mr. Newman.
Craig is losing almost everything.
Your mobile phones will have to go. Television? Laptop? Oh, no, it's definitely not a laptop. Those are all out of bounds. Bye-bye.
What's going through my head? Panic at the moment. How on earth am I going to live?
People used to use salt to help clean the teeth, get them white.
A pensioner, a disabled person,
Dry toast is going to be very annoying to live off the rest of the week.
And a sickness benefit claimant...
Plain dry crackers.
...are living by the rules of the first full year of the welfare state.
Miss McKendo?
But for Karen, lack of money is the least of her problems. She's about to discover that 1949 had different ideas about claimants' rights and claimants' privacy.
I've got the welfare officers coming to see me, and hopefully they come in with something positive. Because if they're not, they'll have a piece of my mind.
In 1949, the government had no qualms about sticking its nose into people's business. It had snooped on its citizens during the war to keep the country safe. And in peacetime, it snooped on them to uncover fraud.
There's no other way of putting it. I'm spying on people.
Officers were actively encouraged to visit claimants without notice and to mislead them about the visit's true purpose.
This is from the sickness visiting rule book. The sick visitor's approach should be friendly and not too formal. Hi, Miss McKendo. Hello. Tact and discretion must become almost second nature. Great weather. We've been waiting for this, haven't we?
We have.
It's really, really lovely. Preliminary remarks about the weather, the garden, or the view may help to put the person at their ease. Fabulous garden, too. It looks like it's nicely mown.
My son does that.
He does all that, does he?
Yeah.
If the claimant asks the purpose of the visit, the sick visitor can say that he has come to see how the claimant's getting on. OK, well, really, I'm here to check to see that you're getting on OK. Put them off their guard, really. It's got more sneaky, isn't it, in 1949? How are you coping generally about your house? You're able to keep things nice and tidy, and it looks tidy to me, but...
Yeah, my son's a great help to that.
Ah, what would you do without it?
I don't know, I just want to be able to manage.
OK, well, thanks very much.
Thank you, my darling.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. To be honest with you now, I'm just gonna chill and relax. I'm absolutely shattered. Oh, there we go. Oh.
Dreadful day. Help, Mr. Blackbird.
Next for a checkup, Melvin. In 1949, the state kept an eye on pensioners. Mrs. Townsend wants to see how he's coping with his finances.
He's got his own personal budget that he's worked out at something like £5.49. And I want to know, really, whether he's stuck to it, because he told me he would stick to that religiously.
At the moment, I'm holding my own. In fact, I'm a penny up. I'm proud of that.
Good morning, Mr. Rowthorne.
I'm up by a penny.
OK.
So, I'm not doing bad.
Utilities, your gas and electricity. Have you put any thought into paying those bills?
I haven't taken that into account.
Ah, OK. Gas and electric, £23.66 a week.
Bloody hell.
Mr. Rowthorne, you're in debt now. Melvin is in a really tricky position. He's actually got no money now. What does Melvin do?
This is certainly hitting home now. You're down to the basic limits.
Melvin's predicament was not uncommon in 1949. Half of pensioners survived on or below the poverty line. The government, terrified by the cost of caring for the old, set the pension below subsistence level. There was national assistance, but the stigma was so great many pensioners did not apply.
I'm in debt. I can't see me any way getting out of it.
Those with no extra income or savings could be forced to take desperate measures.
Oh, puncher. No. Won't get a quid.
A visit to the pawnbrokers.
Oh, Ken Dodd. His greatest hits. That was my grandfather's watch. This is purely sentimental value, I'll admit, but the only thing I've got, in my opinion, is valuable. It would break my bloody heart to have to sell it.
What are you for?
I want to pawn it at the moment, thank you.
What time's the old boy?
They are. I'm up to the neck in debt.
Oh, yeah? Music to my ears. 30 sniffs, have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
You can't really have compassion for customers, otherwise they'll take your pants down. Or the old saying is they'll take your eyes and come back for the sockets.
You want the cash? You've got no choice. My granddad, he's had it all his life. Now I'm giving it away, in a sense.
Over the years, governments have become more generous. But with people living longer and payments going up, today's pensions bill is £80 billion. That's 1,300% higher in real terms than it was in 1949. Craig is still living on emergency funds, but his fortunes may be about to change.
Let's see what today brings.
The 1949 system was geared to getting people with disabilities back to work, but his motives weren't entirely charitable.
The government were facing a very, very severe work shortage shortly after the war. The disabled register gave them the opportunity to bring in additional people into the work field, disabled people, by giving them training and help to become employable.
The prospect of hopefully sending me to work is something that I hope they'll help me go through.
Mr. Goldsack has checked Craig's circumstances against the 1949 regulations.
Well, you can go onto the disabled persons register.
Right.
So something that goes with that is a training allowance.
Okay.
70 shillings. In today's terms, £103.60 a week.
If you were willing to accept training, you'd be given a generous training allowance.
Going back in time and receiving £100 odd is a big difference.
When I told him how much, I went from Mr. Nasty to, oh, what a lovely man.
Mrs. Townsend's returning to Karen's to make a confession.
Good morning, Miss McKindo.
We meet again.
We do. May I come in?
You can, my darling.
Yesterday, when I came to see you, how would you feel if I told you I was actually spying on you?
I'm really shocked and upset about that you'd come into my house and really, you wasn't being nice. You just trying to catch me out. Because I trusted you, you see? But at the end of the day, I've got nothing to hide, so I think I should have been all right, okay?
I see no evidence of fraud.
That's good.
If I had, I would have referred it to the special investigators. What I saw was someone capable of some work, but I'm not the expert.
No,
so that would be
no.
for the regional medical officer to make that assessment.
Right.
In fact, I've got an appointment for you. Are you okay about that?
I'm fine about that. I've been assessed before. Thank you very much, my
Thank
darling.
you.
You have a nice day. Aaron, just see her out for me, please.
Thank you very much, Aaron.
I can't believe that. Fucking spy. Out of order, innit? That's fucking pissed me off, man. I'm not well. I've got a list of illnesses that's wrong with me, and yet they want to try and get me back to work. Go to the younger people who aren't working. Go to them people who've been on dole for like 20-odd years. What are they doing? Get them back to fucking work and leave me alone. I've done my fucking share for Britain. I'm not doing no more. Let them fuck off.
It's halfway through the 1949 experience, and Melvin's struggling to cope.
National Assistance Code, page 134, paragraph 7072. When dealing with old people, particularly those who live alone, officers may find a small number of cases in which the applicant is neglecting himself or is showing traces of eccentricity.
I've got real concerns for Melvin's situation. He's not able to budget well.
I'm down to 2 slices of my bread.
And I've got concerns about his welfare generally.
Since his wife passed away 5 years ago, Melvin's lived alone.
When you used to sit there, I sat here, we sit and discuss things. But now it's all in the memory, and nobody can take them off you. Your memories.
Faced with the prospect of a pensioner in need, officers in 1949 were allowed to invoke special powers. Mrs. Townsend is calling in a doctor.
I've asked a health inspector to come and give a second opinion and decide what we're going to do next.
How do you do?
Hello, show me what's in the fridge. Whoa.
Yes.
Where's your fruit basket?
I ain't got one.
No vegetables?
No.
No meat?
No.
Because of your diet and your living circumstances, someone of your age now would only have a further 2 years to live. Let me look in your eyes then, please, Melvin. Stick your tongue out, please.
I've never felt so low.
Is it because of how it's making you feel physically, being hungry, or is it the feeling that you've lost contact with your friends and family? What's getting to you the most?
The first part you said is food.
Yes.
The second part, you're correct again, been lonely. The wife, I was with her when she died.
Yes.
Only me. And... sorry.
I don't think he can sustain this for even a few days. He's not coping at all with the situation, and things need to change very rapidly.
Craig is also getting a helping hand from the 1949 state.
The course at an industrial rehabilitation unit is essentially practical. The unit's officers diagnose, question, observe. The final aim of industrial rehabilitation is to place everyone in the kind of employment for which he's best suited.
Dr. Herberts. Hi. Claimants were assessed by a doctor as they performed a series of basic physical tasks.
Do you want to have a go at that?
Yeah, sure.
Fill this one.
How are you feeling about this, Mr. Newman? Coping?
Well, quite therapeutic, actually.
Good.
Yeah.
The nature of the job doesn't matter. What is important is the opportunity it gives for finding out something about each person's residual capacities and the attitude to work in general.
He's coping well with what he's doing there, but I wouldn't like him doing it for any length of time because he would hurt himself. He's bending over to the right, putting extra strain on his waist, also his lower back and shoulders.
Each case is individual. Therefore, the treatment has to be individual also. There can be no mass production when it comes to reshaping human lives.
To come to this sort of place and see the love and care for the more disadvantaged is great, to be honest. You don't see that in a job centre in 2013. Hopefully, the doctor in his report would prove that I am just as capable of working as anybody else.
But not everyone got lucky. If Dr. Herberts decides Craig is unsuitable for work, he'll lose his chance of training and his money. The 1949 system backed those it thought might be useful. It judged claimants on their prospects, not their need.
How has Mr. Newman got on today? Anything physical involving lower body work, no, he's not fit for. A lot of the stuff that's going to be open to him is going to be sedentary type of work, I think. But he's perfectly capable of operating a computer, answering phones in an office type of environment.
Karen's capability for work is also being judged by 1949's rules.
Honestly.
But because her conditions aren't visible, she's finding the system harder to navigate.
I'm in pain every single day, 24/7. It has a big impact, and sometimes it gets me down because I want to go to the park and play football with my grandchildren, but I can't.
Today, Dr. Jim Laurie is going to apply the exact test applicants faced back in 1949.
Here's a list of my medical, if I can probably help.
Gosh, you've got quite a lot of
Yeah.
problems.
In 2013, there are a lot more disabilities, illnesses that are recognised. Things that, although they were in existence in 1949, weren't recognised as being conditions.
In the form, there's some questions about humping, which is carrying heavy loads.
Even if I tried, it would be just unbearable.
Would you be able to climb ladders at all?
Oh, no.
Jumping?
No.
Would you be able to throw something?
No, I couldn't do that.
Pull an object?
No.
Pushing?
I'd find that a struggle.
I've got a £12 bag of potatoes and If I put this beside you...
Right.
Just see whether you're able to lift that at all from that position.
Just any... Right.
Yeah, just...
No, that's struggling with that.
Can you reach across for that one?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like it's pain in here.
Pulling a bit, yes.
Yeah. I think I probably struggle with that.
I'll put that in the report. I want to ask you about something called fingering. And
Right.
that describes fine movements. Draw a star.
Right.
Sort of biggish size.
Okay.
And then if we cut it out, that will be looking for people who might work in tailoring,
Right.
dressmaking.
This is actually hurting my thumb. Yeah, it's hurting my joints a bit.
2013 may have already judged her incapable of work. But Karen will have to see whether 1949 agrees. Mrs. Townsend is still trying to work out what to do with Melvin. Back in 1949, the state expected relatives to look after their own.
Do you have any family that can look after you?
I've got a sister, but she's knocking on for 80, and my brother-in-law is over 80.
Right. You don't feel there's anyone that can help you?
I don't, to be honest.
In cases like this, the A Code had another suggestion. Designate a neighbour to act as applicant friend.
When my boys were young and his boy was young, they used to play together.
Someone to help with daily chores.
Laundry, cooking, cleaning, that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
But can this approach work in 2013?
I can't physically, because it's as much as I could do to keep myself going.
He just lives a little bit too far out. I mean, I'm limited to what I could do, because obviously I work.
Thanks for your help.
In these circumstances, 1949's rules were clear.
I've just been round and I can tell you that no one is in a position to help you. I'm afraid there is no other alternative but to put you into residential care.
It's earth-shattering. I had this with my own wife going in a nursing home. I know what it's like.
The trouble is that you know yourself you're not able to cope. I'd like you
Okay.
to pack a bag
Yeah.
and have it ready for
Yeah.
when I come round tomorrow morning.
At Craig's house, Mr. Goldsack is about to reveal the post-war system's secret weapon.
May I come in?
Yep.
Thank you.
Back then, the state had the power to insist that employers took on disabled workers. They imposed quotas and could prosecute bosses who didn't meet them.
Those of us with any sort of handicap will be sure of a job and will be given protection against unreasonable discharge.
In Craig's case, though, a little gentle persuasion has proved enough.
I've been contacting a number of employers, and I'm very pleased to say that one of them has come up with a day's work experience for you.
Thank you.
So if you can just tidy yourself up, make an impression, because it's up to you. What impression you make could determine your future.
I feel quite grateful, actually, how much help I'm receiving at the moment.
The quota system was abolished in 1994, and the Disability Discrimination Act took its place. But it doesn't seem to have helped Craig in his 2013 job search.
Through his contacts, the resettlement officer can arrange visits to prospective employers. For some, it may well be the end of the journey. And what if the good job's on the second floor and there's no lift?
Want to show this potential employer how much potential I've got.
So if you want to just press O on the keyboard.
After some training, Craig's thrown into the deep end.
Through to Selena, can I help?
See tickets, vouchers. Craig speaking, how may I help? Okay, I'll have a look for you. Doors or level 1? How many tickets do you want? So you want to go through? Your first name?
He's just taken his first sale, so he's really natural.
London is Royal Albert Hall. VIP tickets. Thank you very much. Cheers, bye.
Got the hang of it now, pretty much. I'll just leave you to it. I'm going to go home.
Loved today. It's been a great confidence builder for me. Given this sort of opportunity just for one day has made me realise that actually I am a decent employee.
Karen's back at the dole office to get the results of her 1949 work capability test.
Here we go again, see what these fuckers have got to say.
If she's judged fit by 1949's criteria, she will be steered towards work, whether she likes it or not.
I'm feeling worried and a bit doubtful because in 2013 I'm registered as unfit for work. So what work am I going to be able to do?
4-star on the right.
The doctor here, his conclusions are that you could work part-time and you could do some light work.
Really? And that's what he said?
Yeah, and I have been able to find somewhere for you to go. It's a place where people who aren't able to do a full range of work, who have various disabilities, various handicaps, go. So you'll be able to experience work and perhaps try a bit of work.
I'm not going to that.
You're not going?
No, I'm not.
What's the alternative?
I couldn't care less what it is. You make your decision, you do what you fucking like, because I'm not interested.
If you refuse to go, then your benefit will be disallowed. So may
I don't like being blackmailed, you know.
I am going to take your benefits away from you.
How can somebody in them days say that people like me are fit for work? I can't believe it. If I don't go, they're going to stop my benefits. To me, that's blackmail. I'll go. I'll fucking go.
Melvin isn't coping on his 1949 pension. So he's about to be subjected to one of the system's toughest measures.
National Assistance Act, Chapter 29, Section 47. For persons who, being aged, are unable to devote to themselves proper care, it is necessary to remove said person from the premises in which he is residing.
It's pretty heartbreaking to think all the years I've spent here. Due to medical advice, I've got to leave it. Good
Hello,
morning.
Mr. Rowthorne. How
Come
are
in,
you?
please.
Thank you.
Very nervous. But there's nothing I can take with me, apart from memories.
Oh, hello. My name is Mrs. Townsend. I work for the Labour and
Pleased to
Welfare
meet you.
Office. It's Mr. Rowthorne.
Morning.
He's going to be staying
Thank
with
you.
you. Mr. Rowthorne is very lonely. He's got poor nutrition because he's not been able to feed himself properly. And we've now got an emergency situation where Mr. Rowthorne really does need residential care.
He is happy to come here. He's
He
voluntary.
realises he's got no other option. So you look after him.
I'll do my best.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
Mr. Rowthorne. I hope you'll be happy. Thank you.
Your full name?
Melvin, M-E-L-V-Y-N, Rowthorne, R-O-W.
This is your room now. You've had a hard week, so it'll be nice to have a good rest and you know that somebody's watching over you.
I mean, the pensioners in 49, they had to manage. But this, to come in here for good, I just don't know. We'll see what it's like in the morning. That's the best I can say.
I'm Miss McKindo.
Who are you here to see?
Oh, I'm not sure, you know. It's to do with some work, I think.
Karen's facing an ultimatum. If she doesn't at least try to work today, the 1949 system will cut off her benefits.
I am nervous because I can hear some machines going off.
Karen's conditions mean she needs more support than Craig. But in 1949, that didn't deter the authorities. They saw work as therapeutic. Even those who could only do a little were forced to try.
I'm sending Karen to an establishment which is very, very similar to what a shelter workshop would have been in the 1940s.
I used to do packing
Oh, did
and
you?
steam pressing, but I was much younger and fitter.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Yeah.
Are you to school with her. I did. Oh, just you to be here. Small world.
Yeah.
So, how long have you worked here?
6 years. 7 months.
So, what time do you have to get up then in the morning to get ready?
Early.
To hold on to her 1949 benefits, Karen has to try some work.
Do you want to have a go?
Honestly, I'm knackered.
Oh, yeah?
It's not that I don't want to work cafe, and I just can't. I just find it very difficult even to look after myself.
So I can always remember you as a strong woman.
Yeah, I'm still that strong person there, but sometimes I have my days where I do tumble, but I soon get back up.
In 1949, Karen's decision would have meant the state cut off her benefits. In 2013, it means she's opted out of the experiment. She's reached the end of the road.
Because my disability is not visual, it's like I have to prove myself. Back in 1949, God knows how people survived. It must have been terrible. I don't like showing vulnerability. So all you'll see is just a brave smile, but deep down, I'm suffering. I just want people to stop judging me.
The state has given Craig the same treatment, but with a different result.
Come in, Mr. Newman. Thank you. You've been on a day's work experience.
I have, yep.
Well, Mr. Newman, I've got a letter here from the ticket agency. Dear Craig, further to your work experience day with us, we would like to offer you a role with us at the agency as a call centre operator.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's great. It's probably the best news I've had in a very long time.
So, well done.
Thank you. Sorry. I feel like a capable human again. My first ever job offer.
In 2013, only 46% of registered disabled people of working age are employed. In 1949, that same figure was 94%. But what about Melvin?
To have a substantial meal is like going to heaven. Beautiful. And then you go underneath. Hey, we're going. Now then, after being on my own, trying to manage, trying to juggle with money, finish up here, all I've got to do, feed my face, clean my teeth, and job's a good one.
At the end of the week, our claimants return to the dole office together to compare notes on 1949. Melvin couldn't cope on his tiny post-war pension, but he's drawn a surprising conclusion from his week of austerity.
If the money could only go to one of you, the pensioners, the sick, or the disabled, to whom would you give the money?
I'm the best off. In my opinion, that lad does. I'll be fair about that. He's a lot younger than me, for a start.
Well,
no disrespect to you, but...
But what's age got to do with it?
He wants more help than what I do.
But how do you know that? I mean, my needs might be greater than his. Just because he's in a wheelchair doesn't mean anything. He probably could go to work.
He could.
I couldn't.
But Craig, offered work instead of benefits, doesn't want money.
In 1949, I was given actual help into work experience. 1949's welfare system has worked much better than the welfare system of 2013.
For Karen, though, the intrusive judgmental state of 1949 was too much to take.
I thought it was quite appalling and shocked. So thank God I wasn't in that era. There's only one person that can judge me, and that is God, not the government or the DWP. So thank you very much, yeah?
The weeks left the officers with some questions of their own.
Although we're more compassionate today, do we want to maintain that, or do we want to get tougher on claimants?
Today, cuts are being made to the welfare budget. Do we want to take this money from the most vulnerable? We've seen what happened to Melvin in 1949. Would we want to see this happen again?
There's just one piece of unfinished business.
Melvin, when you got into debt, you had to pawn your grandfather's watch.
I did. And Beres, that man broke my heart. I'd never watch it again, honestly. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Next week, what can 1949 tell us about who should get a council house?